Hey guys, it's Ted Bogard with the Ted Show. I'm outside, all right? This is crazy. So I'm actually outdoors. I'm at Ace Cafe Orlando. You know where it is, downtown. One of the coolest places on the planet. Big, big location with lots of fun stuff. We are here today with Glenn Closson and Sean Boucher. Sean is with Ace. Glenn is with Ivanhoe Park Brewing Company. And we are going to taste some beer, but we're going to talk about Central Florida Brewers Guild Festival, which is February 22nd here at Ace Cafe. So if I'm screaming, it's because I'm not really sure when the train's going to go by. So we're all kind of living through this, working through it. And as you can see, Glenn has brought us some samples, and you know how much I love samples. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
All right, so the most important part for me is that somebody starts pouring. But the second most important part is that we learn a little bit about you. So while Glenn's pouring, I'm going to start with Sean. Tell us a little bit about you and how you got to Ace Cafe and this Central Florida Brewers Guild Festival.
My name's Sean Boucher. I moved up here about 5 years ago. Been in the area about 5 years, so I applied here when I heard Ace Cafe was opening up a North America location here in the beautiful city of Orlando. Their tagline was great food, classic cars, and rock and roll. And so that's right up my alley, so I went and applied, and here I am
Great food,
today.
classic cars, and rock and roll. But you've got we tagged you, you've got an interesting, you're a musician too.
I am, yes sir.
All right, so what musical instrument do you play?
I play drums, guitar, everything except the keyboard I've kind of fiddled with. I can never get the keyboard down, surprisingly.
Do you sing?
I used to.
And what kind of music do you play?
Classic rock, punk rock, across the board.
Nice. Do you ever play here at Ace?
We played the Christmas party a couple times, yes. It's been
And
fun.
what's the name of your group?
We are the Filthy De Niros.
The Filthy De Niros. I love it. All right, Sean. Glenn Closson.
Yes.
Tell us about you, my friend.
So as you mentioned, I own Ivanhoe Park Brewing Company about 2 miles down the road. We've been open about 2 years now, into distribution. Got our cans out there and our core beers, and we usually have a lineup of about 12 beers on tap in the tap room. Also part of the Central Florida Brewers Guild, sitting as their treasurer right now. And it was kind of formed before I got out here from California, so they had already started the Central Florida Ale Trail, and it's just kind of blown up from there. A lot of people love seeing that you can go visit all 30 breweries to kind of get a stamp and then win a growler at the end.
You win a growler. What's a growler for people who don't know?
So a growler
I'm
is
gonna give you that.
a glassware container. It's 64 ounces, so you can fill it with any beer that's on tap, and then they're just reusable, so you can take it to any brewery and get it refilled as you go.
So is that why? Real quick question, then of course I want to taste beer and talk about beer. But is that why there was this crazy law that was going back and forth on the growler, because you could move it, or because it was so big?
So that was before my time. I would say it was.
Nice.
It wasn't due to size, because I know they had 32 ounce and 128 ounce were approved. So they were all kind of confused why 64 ounce was such a big deal.
Yeah.
So it eventually passed. I'm not sure exactly who led that. I know Commissioner Stewart, I think his son was a big part of that one to get that one going.
Good,
so,
good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about a little bit about Ivanhoe, and then I want to talk about the guild, and then I want to talk about the event. So tell them where Ivanhoe Park Brewing is. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then tell them a little bit about what you have going on there.
So Ivanhoe Park is, like I said, 2 miles down the road. It's in the district of Ivanhoe Village. If you know where the Hammered Lamb is, we're right behind them. We have a nice mural of the city skyline. So overall, we do a lot of events. Every Thursday we have trivia. Every Sunday something different. So we have Family Day. We do an occasional Dog Day, and we do...
You brought that up. Very nice. You have food trucks, I think, that come out.
Food trucks every Thursday through Sunday, so we cycle through the food trucks, and then we do yoga every first Sunday.
You do yoga?
I don't do it, but yes, we host yoga every first Sunday on the patio. It's really cool.
All right, so let's talk about the Central Florida Brewers Guild Festival. So we don't even know what the guild is, so somebody explain to me what the guild is, and then talk about the festival that, again, is here on February 22nd at Ace Cafe.
Okay, so the guild is a group of breweries that got together. It started as kind of a drinking club. Then we realized we could make it into something more serious, so we actually created bylaws, filed for all the 501(c) status, and we are an official nonprofit. Our mission is to kind of educate the consumer and just work with the community to put together fun events that kind of allow us as owners and brewers to come out and explain the process and describe the beer so that it helps, assist the consumer in understanding what they're drinking, what the various styles are we're putting out there. We all have a lot of fun. We're all very different in our styles and what we put out as far as products. So the Guild is just like a way for us to kind of communicate and collaborate at the same time.
And a nonprofit. I think the education's important because you have people like me who I'm not sure what IPA stands for. You're going to tell me that in a minute because I used to remember. But there's so many things out there, and I think that because brewing has become really an art, a science, a lot of people don't know what they're drinking sometimes. They just look at it like a person like me who would be afraid to ask sometimes. And I'd look down, I'm like, oh, that's 8% alcohol. All right, I can do that. But I don't talk about I don't educate myself on what goes into that, why it's that flavor, why do you have it that name, where is it coming from? And I think that's really cool that you guys do that.
Yeah, it's a great way to get it out there.
All right, so the festival is February 22nd. We want to talk about what we have in front of us because my liver is giving the check engine light. And so it's super important that we start and we get a little bit of taste. And so I'd love for you to, yes, cheers, and I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about what we are sipping on first.
So this one's our Toboggan Blonde Ale. It's 5%. It's kind of our easy drinking, entry-level craft beer. So it's going to be a very basic hop and malt build to kind of allow for good flavor, but just kind of an easy drinking, crisp beer that kind of helps that person that's not sure what they want for craft beer. It sells really well in the tap room because our staff can kind of educate someone that's looking for a light lager or something along those lines, so it kind of leads them in that direction.
It's
and
kind of the starter, right? This is well, I think like Stacy, my wife, she'll go in and she's like, what can I get? I'm not going to use another name, but what can I get XYZ, like XYZ light? Because if you don't know, you're not sure if you can handle the heavier flavors. You don't know if you want a beer that has chocolate written all over it or coffee. So if you haven't developed your palate, like same with wine, same with other alcohol, you really have to kind of practice at it and kind of get to know what you want. So the blonde ale, the word blonde, I imagine, comes from the color, the lighter color.
Correct, yeah.
Oh, so good. I got an answer right. Hello.
2 points.
This is very light and mellow.
Yeah.
So blonde ale, and why Toboggan?
So Ivanhoe Park was based off of the amusement park that was on Lake Ivanhoe in 1910 when George Russell opened it up, and Toboggan was the main attraction. It was the wooden slide that actually slid customers into the lake. So
wait, in our Lake Ivanhoe?
In Lake Ivanhoe.
Oh no, I didn't know that. I thought you were talking about somewhere in Colorado. All right, so that actually happened here.
Yes, just
very
2 miles away.
So you really, when you were coming up with the names and you guys were creating, you were really thinking about the history.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
Yep.
All right, so I love this. It's delicious. All right, so I like to try lots of things. So let's move on to the next one. Tell me what we have. I'm fascinated by this big giant thing, and you're going to tell me about it. You don't have to open it. Well, you did bring an opener, didn't you?
I have one, yeah. So next one's our Bungalow Belgian Wit Beer. This one is a 4.8%, so it's going to have a little bit of orange peel and coriander to it.
Thank you.
Still pretty easy drinking, approachable.
You know, guys, I'm not letting this go, right? It's
Thank you.
No beer left behind. So saying that was a Belgian, it's brewed with a Belgian yeast, so some people say it almost gives it a bubblegum flavor to it.
Tell me about, all right, so let's say I'm completely ignorant, which I am. What does Belgian mean? And what's wit beer mean?
So Belgian from the country.
So is it the process that they got it from? Is it the way that they do their beer over there and you brought it here? What is that?
So it's the actual yeast strand that gives the flavor profile that they actually used from that country origin. So it's the orange peel and coriander mix that gives it that, because a Belgian wit beer is different than a Hefeweizen, which would have banana and clove in it. So it has a slightly different flavor profile, but it's still going to be around that fruity characteristic with that slight spice characteristic, but then that yeast has that bubblegum flavor to it.
All right, so when people drink beer like this, which I feel like it's craft beer, this is something you've put a lot of time, effort, and energy in creating it. Do you sniff your beer like wine people do? Like what's the right way to drink a beer like this? Down the hatch, or?
I mean, I don't get too serious, but I mean, as soon as you put your nose in there, you kind of get the aromas that you're going for.
I love the smell of this one.
Yeah, so you get
Sean,
that
you're
orange
very
feel.
quiet tonight. I don't know what's happening.
We're cutting them off.
Sean's like, shut up, Ted.
Yeah,
No,
what-
this smells good.
What do you get from this one?
I like it smooth. I like how the cans have the flavor profile. I've noticed
That's
that while we've been
delicious.
sitting here. So like with the toboggan, it was a little bit lighter. This one's got a little more, I would say, body to it.
Oh, so you're dumbing it down. I like this on the back. That's sort of, Sean's being nice, but what they do is they're giving a profile back here, and so it tells you, it gives you a guide as to what you're getting yourself into. My wife hates she doesn't like the flavor in an IPA. I like it, so she wouldn't like something that would have the heavy, whatever that is. But it gives you an idea of what you're doing. Sort of like when you read the back of a wine label, you know, it's got notes of chocolate and, I don't know, pineapple, or the things that they put on wine bottles. So this is really a way for you to educate them so that they know what they're getting into.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
All right, I love that. Okay, Bungalow. Why Bungalow?
So Bungalow is based on the house styles that kind of lined College Park and Ivanhoe Village. There's still some historical houses that have that style of home, so we just wanted to bring back that and kind of put it into the branding of it.
I love it.
Rolls
Hey,
off the tongue.
guys, we're about to get hit either with Sunrail, which is great because it goes right by you, or a big giant choo-choo train, so just watch out. You'll just see us drinking while we're pausing for that, if that's what happens. All right, so what is our I actually really like this one a lot. I love the flavor. The other one is light, so if you're into light beer, the blonde ale is perfect for you. But this one has it's a little more complex, and it's got definitely, you can taste the different flavors in there, and I really like it. Beer's hard for me. As I've gotten older, I get more, I have to be particular about what beer I drink, because if it's too heavy, then I end up feeling heavy, and I can't eat my meal, I can't drink much more, and so I have to be very careful about what kind of beer I drink. You guys are both young, so that doesn't impact either one of you like it does me, but us old folks, it can be a challenge.
You just have to practice more.
I have to. You know, it's funny because I go into places, and I look at the beer list, and I think that sounds so delicious, and usually it is. I think if I could have a beer that was this size and try a whole bunch, I'd be in good shape. All right, what do we have next, my friend?
All right, so the final core
Little
beer.
redder.
Yeah, so this one's got the amber color to it. This one's our Joyland American IPA. Every brewery has their IPA. It's the #1 selling beer. A lot of craft beer drinkers are going for this style.
What does IPA mean again?
So it stands for India Pale Ale. It comes from the origin of when the British were invading India, they would send beer down, but they would actually use hops as a preservative, so it would preserve the beer to make the long trek down there. And then when they got back from war, they realized that the hops weren't there, but they actually liked it because their palate had adjusted to that beer profile. So then it just kind of came to fruition from that.
So that's what IPA is. I would bet if you asked 25 people that, hardly anybody would know. And there's the train, guys.
So let's drink.
Cheers.
It's like train shots, right?
Train shots.
That's really smooth for an IPA though.
Yeah.
I'm not a real hoppy guy, but that's awesome.
So what we did, we actually do more dry hopping with this one, so it's not as much as the bitterness from the hops coming out, and more so the actual aromatics and flavor. So you get a pretty heavy flavor on there that, or aroma on that you get from the hop profile from the dry hopping process.
So what does more hoppy mean? That means, explain, because I think I've heard that before. Well, do you like it more hoppy, or do you like it more, there's another word that you guys use a lot.
Malty?
Malty.
There you go.
Yes. And so what's the flavor difference for somebody who's like, I have no idea what that even means. I'm used to drinking Natty Light.
Yeah. I mean, hops and malts are the two of the 4 ingredients that actually go into beer, so they're going to obviously have the biggest effect. Malty characteristics are obviously, it's the barley and grains that we use, so you're going to get almost a breadiness from that, whereas the hops are pelletized form, and they give, depending on what region they're grown in, they kind of cross-pollinate with that. So a lot of the ones in Washington obviously have pine trees all around them, so you get more of a pininess to it. New Zealand hops have a more of citrusy flavor to it, so it kind of cross-pollinates. In England, it's almost a earthy kind of
Interesting.
aromatic or bitterness it gives to it. So Hoppiness obviously is going to come in the IPA. There are darker beers that have that hop characteristic or that bitterness that you're going to find as well. So each one's going to have a different variant to it.
It's delicious though. I like that, and it's heavier.
Yep.
You can tell it's a little bit heavier. For not heavier like on the body. I mean heavier in the flavor. There's a lot more going on there. I like that. What flavors am I tasting?
I mean, you get like a pininess to it, a little bit of a fruitiness.
Let me show them on the back of,
almost like a dankness. This one's the IPA.
Yes, this is it right here, right? Joyland.
Yes.
So if you can see the hops, for those of us who need help, the hops thing is all the way to the thing. Okay, so why, did you already tell me why Joyland?
Not yet.
Tell me why Joyland.
So Joyland was actually what the community renamed Ivanhoe Park, the water park that we were talking about, in 1915. So George Russell held a contest and the locals kind of came together and they thought Joyland was a great name for it. So
I had no idea about this. This is so cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of great history in Ivanhoe Village.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us about the event on the 22nd, Sean, since we've let Sean off the hook the last 15, 20 minutes. Tell us about the event. What can people expect? Can they still buy tickets? Where do they buy tickets? And what time and all of the good details that they need to know.
We can buy tickets from Eventbrite. There's going to be 30 local brewers, and it's going to be featured in our beautiful backyard that we just finished. It's the first big event that we have.
It's beautiful back there.
On out back.
Absolutely beautiful.
About 30 brewers are going to be here featuring their local beers, and who doesn't love a local beer on a Saturday afternoon?
Amen.
We're dog friendly here at Ace Cafe. We're going to have some great food specials inside. It's going to be a great time all around.
Awesome. And so they buy tickets at Eventbrite. Can they go to the Ace Cafe website? Do they need to go to the Facebook page for Central Florida Brewers Guild?
Facebook page.
Okay.
The Facebook page.
So we tagged that, and we'll tag it again. Central Florida Brewers Guild Festival. There's a Facebook page there, and you can just go there, check it out. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want to come here. I call it backyard. Their yard area, their gorgeous area in the back here. What a beautiful place to have an event. What a beautiful place to be outside. And Ace Cafe, all the servers are amazing. I love it here. Everybody's so good to me. And they're very, very friendly and very, very accommodating. And if you haven't been here, you're missing out. This space is beautiful. It's giant. You can have events here, which I've had. They don't have to be alcohol related, even though I make most of mine alcohol related. They can be business related. They have conference rooms. They have all sorts of little cool nooks and crannies where you can actually have a business meeting. You can have a network meeting. You can have whatever you want here. And so Sean is the events person, and I'm assuming we're going to reach out to Sean, or at least he'll put us in touch with the right person if you want to do that. All right, so I'm excited about the 22nd. What am I missing? Anything I left out? Give shout out to Lisa and Stacy, of course. I would never leave you two out. What else? Tell me.
I mean, the great thing about the Guild Fest is it's our third annual event, so we've had 2 years to kind of practice. We are using Ace Cafe. It's our first time here, so we're excited. It's more central to all of Orlando, so it's going to have easier access for a lot of the customers that are, excited about their own local brewery. They're going to see their local brewery, but kind of experience other breweries that they might not get out to as much. Because it is supporting the Guild and the education factor, we do all bring out a fun beer. So there's going to be something unique you can try. And then also, most of the owners and brewers will be here representing. So we keep ticket sales pretty low so that you have an opportunity to kind of chat about the beers and kind of hang out with the brewers and the owners so that you can kind of get an idea of what's in the process and what kind of flavor profiles they're having, so you can kind of get that education factor we're going for.
I love it. All right, before the train comes again, February 22nd here at Ace Cafe, Orlando, Central Florida Brewers Guild Festival. Reach out to me, reach out to Glenn, reach out to Sean. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Come out and taste some amazing beer and enjoy the environment here. You're going to love it.